Happening this morning now at 5:31. Very big day in the trial of a former Albuquerque police officer accused of killing his wife.
Yeah, it's time for closing arguments in the Levi Chavez first-degree murder trial to start. Then his fate will go to the jury. News 13's David Romero is live outside the Sandoval County Courthouse where the drama has unfolded there. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Elizabeth. Well, prosecutors chose to call Joseph Cordova to the stand as their final rebuttal witness yesterday. And Cordova is, of course, Tara Chavez's dad. Now, this is all before closing arguments are set to take place today. And once again, yesterday, things got emotional.
I would have been there in a heartbeat. Those were two pieces that her and I did right before her death, right before she moved into that home.
That was Cordova on the stand disputing a claim from Levi Chavez that his family was offered a piece of furniture that Tara had worked on prior to her death. It was a stained and painted armoire where Levi Chavez said he kept his APD-issued gun. That's the same weapon that prosecutors claim Levi used to kill Tara and make it look like a suicide. In Chavez's 6 hours of testimony on the stand Wednesday, he tried to refute those claims as well as tell the jurors how he offered the armoire to Tara's family after her death.
I didn't want it. I was like, well, if they don't want it, why should I'm going to go throw it in the dump? And me and my dad went through in the dump.
And again, closing arguments from both sides are set to take place today. They're expected to last at least 3 hours each. And of course, we will be in the courtroom as that happens, bringing more in later newscasts. Elizabeth, back to you.
Okay, David, thank you. You can catch everything that happens in the courtroom with live streaming video. You just go to KRQE.com. And the fate of a former neighborhood watch volunteer in Florida will be in the hands of the jury today. Another high-profile case being watched by folks around the country. The defense is expected to present closing arguments in the trial of George Zimmerman. Yesterday, the judge ruled that the jury would be allowed to consider the lesser charge of manslaughter along with a second-degree murder charge. The jury will now decide whether Zimmerman committed a crime when he shot and killed unarmed 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. Meanwhile, police in Miami, where most of Trayvon's family lives, and in Central Florida, where Trayvon was killed, have been undergoing riot training this week in case of a public backlash when the verdict is finally announced. A state lawmaker who could get retirement benefits at the age of 36 says he is turning down his pension.
And it's all to make a point. State Senator Jacob Candelaria here is just 26 years old, the youngest state legislator in New Mexico right now. The law says he and all other legislators can get a pension after they serve for 10 years. So theoretically, he could get one when he's 36. But Senator Candelaria says that's just not long enough. So he's opting out, not taking the money until the Roundhouse passes stricter standards for the pensions like the ones for most state workers. They have to be in their 60s or have worked for the state for at least 25 years to get the money.
It takes a lot to serve in the legislature, and you give up a lot. But we don't allow public employees or teachers or firefighters or police officers to retire that young, and I think our rules need to be a little tighter.
Last year, another legislator here proposed a bill to keep lawmakers from collecting their pensions until they're 62. That was shot down pretty quickly, though. Well, a woman in Albuquerque has filed a federal lawsuit against the mayor, the governor, and a lot of other people. And it's all about the I-25 Paseo project. Sue Flint claims it's all part of a grand plan to boot everyone who lives near the interchange out of their homes. So she's now suing for $1 billion. That's a billion with a B, saying she and her neighbors were denied due process. Ms. Flint believes top officials are all in on a grand plan to redevelop her neighborhood, pointing to a recent rezoning of a mobile home park nearby.
The plan goes through the way that the commercial zoning has given the property owners at Coronado, and the way that the plan is reading, it'll take out our property. It'll take it out to this point right here.
The Department of Transportation says it's worked hard to include neighborhoods on the Paseo plan, and it denies that there are any development plans beyond the interchange.
Happening now, the fire danger across the state has been reduced thanks to all the rain we've seen recently. The State Forestry Division will lift fire restrictions across all New Mexico counties today. The restrictions banning campfires, smoking, and other open fires on state-controlled lands were imposed back in May due to the drought. Well, the Lincoln National Forest in southern New Mexico also plans to scale back its restrictions today, but other national forests are still closed. New Mexico State Police rescued 10 people from the mountains in northern New Mexico recently. Police say they received a distress call yesterday from Cabresto Lake, north of Taos. We're told dispatchers got signals from a GPS system indicating a group of 2 adults and 8 kids were lost in the mountains. One woman was found with a broken ankle and had suffered hypothermia. No one else was hurt.
Drivers in Colorado getting swept up in a mudslide. The whole thing captured on camera. One of them, who is mired in this mess, took this video. The rushing water and mud picked up cars and trucks, carried them down Highway 24 in Manitou Springs. Horrifying as it looks. Thankfully, no one was hurt. They're completely out of control there. Flash flood earlier this week triggered the mudslide.
Out with the old and in with the new, the Hard Rock Casino is now the Isleta Resort and Casino. It is celebrating its re-grand opening all day with a variety of events for its guests. In the coming weeks, there will be new slot machines and new features around the casino's gaming floor. The casino, south of Albuquerque, has ended its link to Hard Rock and rebranded itself with its native logo. It is not returning to its roots, but it is also saving the $1 million a year branding fee that it was paying the Hard Rock Company. A museum in New York City is creating an exhibit on the evolution of Walter White. It opens at the Museum of Moving Image later this month. Called From Mr. Chips to Scarface, it is about the transformation of the lead Breaking Bad character from teacher to meth maker. It features props and costumes worn by Walter White, including that famous black hat his alter ego Heisenberg always sported. The wildly popular show, shot here in Albuquerque, returns to AMC, by the way, August 11th for its final 8th episode.